Believe that good things come easy. We are kicking off a new month. It's March. Can you believe that? Wow. Some of you say yes. Some of you are going, no, I can't believe that. It is March 1st. Woo. And March is the month that we are stepping out in faith together. So this is a big month. Who's been here before when we've stepped out in faith together? Yes, this is, we pull out all the stops and we're going to step out together as a community. And this year's theme, we haven't had a step out in faith in several years. And so this year's theme is Manifestation Isn't Miraculous. We're going to give you step-by-step instructions, and what I really want to know is if you are ready to manifest something new in your life right now. Yes, I love that. Or maybe something different than what you have. Yeah. Are you ready to know once and for all that you actually can manifest anything? Anything. Yes. And that we can do this whenever, wherever, anytime we want, and we get to do it over and over and over. You don't just get one, you know. It's like the everlasting gobstopper. It just keeps going over and over and over and over again. And whether it's something specific, like maybe you want to manifest a new home, I'm so happy to say that I know of 2 people that already in 2020, and this is just March 1st, have already manifested a brand new home. Some single moms, it was really great. Yes, 2 of them. I know there's a 3rd that wants, I don't know who else, but it's really great to celebrate that kind of thing. Maybe it's a new job, or maybe you want to start a new company or car. Maybe it's not a thing, like a material thing. Maybe you want to have overarching inner peace inside of yourself. Or to just wake up each morning with joy and zest for life, right? Maybe it's financial freedom. Who wants financial freedom in their life? Yes. Maybe it's improved health. Maybe it's to absolutely know that there's nothing called some little whatever virus going around is ever touching us. A lot of attention's being put on that right now, right? My intention is on health and wholeness. No matter what's going on outside of me. And my attention is on that for our community and everyone attached to our community. So there are identifiable steps where we can learn how to create whatever it is that we want to experience. And that's what we're going to show you and teach you and talk about throughout the entire month of March. So I'm just telling you, you do not want to miss a single Sunday. That's all I'm going to say. You do not want to miss a single Sunday. We're going to teach you what to do, and we're actually going to put the steps into practice as a community. And this is where our Step Out in Faith program goes and comes into, because when we do this as a community, there's the power of the community. When our community comes together, it gets really revved up. And so we're going to talk about this on Sunday mornings. We're going to talk about this on Tuesday nights. If you have not come to the happy hour with Dr. Petra on Tuesday nights, the people that have are loving it. So we have that. And on Wednesday nights when we have meditation and metaphysics, we're going to continue to talk about this. And since we're doing this as a community, that means that everybody here during the month gets to remind each other, support each other, talk to each other, say, how's it going? How's that step out going? What step are you on? Which one are you practicing? We get to do this with one another so that we really create this collective consciousness of manifestation that is unstoppable. And we get this really solid in our own life. Are y'all up for that? Good. All right. So we also have a great book. It's by a pretty well-known author. Her name is Gabrielle Bernstein. She calls it Super Attractor. So you too can be a super attractor. I want to encourage you to get this. She has Our principals said other different ways, and we're going to read that together. We have that in the book Nook. So let me tell you how this all goes and how it's going to work. First, you got a poster, didn't you?
They get it on the way out.
They get it on the way out. So you're going to get one of these on the way out. Spoiler alert. But make sure you get one of these on the way out. So this is a poster that we're going to invite you to put up somewhere in your office or in your home, wherever you want. And then every week, are they getting this on the way out too?
No, that they have.
Oh. Okay. This you have. So everybody got one of these, right? Yes. So each week you're going to get one of these. And if you happen to miss a Sunday, you can pick it up on Tuesday night or Wednesday night. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one of these and you're going to put it on your poster when you get it. You're going to put,
There's a slide for it.
Petra made me a slide. Isn't she great? Everybody needs somebody like that in their life. And to tell them when to click it. You get to put it here. We're on step 1 today, okay? And then you get to have an affirmation card that you get to carry around with you and use this step. So that's what you're going to do. And we're going to invite you to get into a home study group because this is where we really start to go deep. And I just have to give a massive shout out to Dr. Petra and Reverend Patty. Reverend Patty's been working overtime for the past few weeks. Y'all give her a shout out because she's doing great. She is like the graphic creative queen and the print queen, and she figured out how to get this all printed correctly. And so you only get this if you get in the study group at home, okay? This is some rich stuff. We have videos for you. We have the study guide, so we're going to invite you to get in a study group. If you're already in a Sangha, instead of meeting once this month, we're inviting you to do it every week. It's just for the month of March. Meet every week. Today is the last day where you can get in a home study group. We're also wanting people to host that because we have more people that want to be in it than a location. And here's a great thing. If you can't physically make it to a home study group, we're making sure that you can do it right from your home with the whole group of people. We're using technology. So it doesn't matter where you live. There's no reason why you can't be in the study group where we're meeting for a little bit, 90 minutes, once a week, okay? We even have people that used to live in this community and they've moved to Minnesota and they called us up and said, can we participate? We miss CSLDallas. And they're going to do that too. So this is how it works, okay? And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to ask for you to tell us your success, your TSRWs. Y'all know what TSRW means, right? For our guest, I have to tell her. This shit really works. The stuff really works, the science really works, the spirituality really works. We want you to tell us that you're working it and that you've had these manifestations. So you can write us an email, you can send us a little video, you can post it on social media. We want you to do that, okay? So, are you ready to start our Step Out in Faith together?
Yes.
Cool. Are you ready to manifest?
Yes.
I love you guys. You're excited. Well, let's start with what in the world is manifestation in the first place? Do you know that it's in our glossary, Science Mind textbook? I thought it was pretty cool. Ernest Holmes tells us to manifest means to show forth or make it evident. So when we manifest, we're bringing something into evidence. We're bringing it out. Everything that we see, the plants, the animals, the people, the stars, the galaxies, everything in the visible is this manifestation of God, of spirit, of universe, the life itself. So think about this. So it differs to one degree or other. They may look different, but everything in a manifestation contains, in essence, he says, the whole. Everything that we see, everything within it contains the whole of life. So the drop of the ocean contains the whole ocean. We've heard this before. So within each of us, this manifestation, raise your hand, make sure that you're alive and that you're manifested. Okay? Within each of us is the whole of the entire universe. We're the drop of the entire thing. He says we are not all of God, of course, but the reality within us is God. And as we make conscious use of the law, planting the idea in mind, that's the one mind, and watching it come forth into form, into objectivity, making an object of it, we are producing a manifestation. We are actually meant to manifest. This is what we are all about because we've already been manifested, and now all of life is ready to manifest more through us and as us. So everything is a manifestation of God, and we get to make that conscious choice of what is it that we want to come through us. This is how life works. This is the way it is. And so the first place for us to start is for you to actually know and realize and get that it is okay to want to rake in your good. Come on, let's start that. I just want to rake in my good, right? Rake it in. It's okay to want to manifest and to rake in your good. And the only question is how much good do you really want? In this lifetime, from this point on, doesn't matter what's gone on, but how much now, right? And so the first step in this step out in faith is we've got to believe it. We've got to believe it. And we've got to believe that we can have our good. We can have our good. Whatever that good is for you, you can have it. Ernest Holmes tells us, he says, I believe we should expect to have the good we want when we want it, and as much of it as we can take and use. Knowing that nothing is stored up in this life outside of a state of consciousness. It has no bounds. It is not that we desire to possess, but that we have the access to the substance, this divine oceanic substance. We have full access to it, which shall flow continuously as supplied to meet every need. We're not storing it up, it's just flowing through us continuously. This divine oceanic substance everywhere that we are. And so he believes that we are to expect that all the good that we want, as much of it as we want, we can take and use. That means that I can not only use as much of it as we want for me, but I can use it as much as I want for you and for everyone else. So if I don't believe that I can have my good, I'm keeping it from you. Do you want me to do that? I'm not necessarily a hoarder, because if I don't know that I can have all my good, then I'm just limiting not only the good in my life, but every single person that I know or don't know, or every sentient being, and what I can do with this divine oceanic substance. So, we believe, first step, that we can have our good. We also have to believe that it works. I believe that it works. What's the it? I believe that it works. That the law of cause and effect. Boy, we've sort of put a lot of attention on the law of attraction. There's about to be more attention placed on that with the new movie next month. But the law of cause and effect is the big one. Everything works in this law of cause and effect, this creative process. And so we must believe that this is how life works, that this is how this creative process works. And believing it is based on an understanding of how the universe creates through this powerful law, this law of cause and effect, and on the conviction that we each can create in the very same way that all of creation is creating. You are the only place where this entire universe creates consciously as only you get to decide it does. That's incredible. The only place. Ernest Holmes asked us to do something. He said, there's only one thing that I ask of you, and that is that you believe absolutely that this thing works. If you do not believe it works, it will not work, because everything is belief. If you've sort of kind of believed this might work, if you've sort of gone, well, I've watched it work for other people, but I'm not sure it's going to work for me, it's not going to work. If you fully believe that this stuff works, it does. I love that y'all are participating with me today. He says, everything is mind and all operation is thought, and there is not a law in the universe that is not the power of mind in action, and there never was and there never will be. Anything you ever saw or ever will see is simply the result of mind and action. The only thing he asks of us is to believe that it works. Believe that you are alive because life itself is already living in you. Believe that you move and breathe because there is a divine universal energy moving and flowing through you. Believe that you think because there is this infinite intelligence thinking as you. You exist because this divine spirit has sought to individualize itself as only it can, as you and through you. And that this divine spark is at the absolute center with no circumference of your being. We don't know where we end because we don't. And you are this creative process in action at work. And as we recognize this and believe this, everything changes. And as we act on this belief, everything changes. So there's something else. This one step has a lot of parts to it. Have you noticed? I've already given you 2. We haven't even gotten started yet. The other thing that we need to believe, and we've got to believe it, is that the universe always says yes. It always says yes. That's the good news. And that's the bad news. It always says yes. Y'all have had a few yeses that you don't want. Yes? Yes. Gabrielle Bernstein talks about this in her book, The Super Attractor. She says, believe that the universe always says yes. It always delivers, and it's on your side. You can believe that. She says, the universe is always conspiring to support you, guide you, and compassionately lead you towards the highest good. So we're surrounded by this divine oceanic substance, this law of mind everywhere, and it acts upon our thoughts, right? And it acts upon it based upon our own faith in it. It's flowing around us and through us, everywhere present. And so this creative process is operating in everything we do. Ernest Holmes says this principle is limitless in its ability and can do anything we can conceive of it doing, and will do anything for us if we believe that it can and that it will, providing, he says, that we use it for good and constructive purposes. Let's don't ever leave that out, because the universe does always say yes. And so we are responsible for our good. We're responsible to ensure that whatever we want is good for everyone else. I do that. I check in. I'm like, well, would everyone else want this? Is it universal? Or is it potentially going to harm someone? If so, I don't want that. I use it responsibly because I'm consciously using it. A lot of people don't consciously use it. But we are personally responsible because we know this stuff works to use it consciously for our good and for everyone else's. Because the universe actually doesn't care what you want to manifest. It doesn't. That's good news. Because it doesn't know anything about big or small. Do you ever notice that we think something's big or it's small? There have been times like, well, I don't know that I could have this because that feels pretty big. I hear this a lot. Oh, that's big. Maybe I should start small. A galaxy or a grain of sand on the beach. The universe doesn't care. It doesn't know big or small. We're the ones that try to say this, and so that limits us. I've had so many examples since coming into the science of mind and understanding how this stuff works, studying it, applying it, putting into practice in my life. We all start at the same place. Most of us start in foundations, yes? I don't know where else y'all started, but okay. Or you picked up the book or whatever. And I've had now so many examples. The first example that I really knew, and I've shared the story sometimes, is when I lived in Oakland, California, before moving to Dallas, and I was in foundations class. I coveted these California poppies, these wild, protected state flowers, orange California poppies, and I noticed them driving from my house to the center in Oakland. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're everywhere, except for in my garden. I had a 100-foot garden in the back of my house, slope garden, and no one in my neighborhood had California poppies, but when I got out of my neighborhood and started driving to the center, I would see them everywhere. They were in the parking lot of the center, and I remember that day. I actually stood in the parking lot at the center at the end of service, and when I was done that day, and I went, look at them. I want some of those. I got home, and I stood on a railroad tie in my garden, and I did a spiritual mind treatment, what we teach, affirmative prayer here, and I did a spiritual mind treatment for California poppies. Like, bam! And I didn't think a thing about it. I just forgot completely about it. A year later, approximately, I was standing on that same railroad tie, and I was just looking out in my garden. And for the first time, I don't know how long they were there, I happened to notice, like, oh my God, look at all these California poppies. They're everywhere. I didn't plant them. None of my neighbors still had them. I don't know how they got there. I don't know if a bird pooped out of the sky and fell in my garden. If the wind blew them, I have no idea. But when I finally realized that there were California poppies in that garden that I could enjoy, I really knew this stuff works. I believed it. Then guess what happened? I started believing it more and more and more. And guess what happened? And thank goodness, I know that I wanted to become a minister. I did. I wanted to thrive and do it full time. I do. I remember when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, I wanted to move through it quickly. Did, less than a month. And just recently, I believed that I could get on an airplane on Friday morning and fly to Nashville, Tennessee and surprise my father for his 80th birthday. He didn't know I was coming. Fly back yesterday. We have some family drama typically in my family, and I believed that we would have no drama while I was there. We had the best time. My brother and I and my aunt and my uncle and their spouses, we just had the best time because I believed that we would. And I use this every day of my life, and I know you do too. And I want us to keep sharing the stories so that we know this. So we've got to believe it. And a belief, Gabrielle talks about this. She shares that Abraham Hicks says that belief, we have to be very aware of what do we believe. That our belief comes alive and active in your life by the thoughts you are repeating. So I started repeating, great trip, great time, gonna have a great time, But watch your overarching conversations on what it is that you're believing. Okay, another thing to believe as you believe it. Believe that good things come easy. Brad, I'm not done. You can go rest if you want. I'm telling you. I'll give you a signal. I'm not skipping any of this good. Believe that good thing. He's so great, though. Believe that good things are easy. Do you repeat? My life ain't easy. It's hard. Believe that good things are easy. That they come easy. Believe that good things come easy. Ernest Holmes tells us every one of us personally has back of us and in us and through us and around us. Not just back of us, but the universe has our back. But, back of us, the potential, the entire potentiality of the universe. How would anything be hard? He says there is an irresistible potential pressing against everyone for self-expression. I'm going to say right here, pressing against us is actually pressing against us from the inside of us out. It's pressing. It wants to come out of us. It wants to come through us. The entire potentiality of the universe is pressing against everyone for self-expression. If we listen, we shall hear it, not as a voice, but as a feeling, as a divine urge to express. If we believe in it, it shall manifest through us. And if we keep our consciousness active and alive to it, the volume that flows through us by our consent will necessarily increase, but we have to believe it will. So we've got to believe that this entire potentiality of the universe is pressing against us that wants to come through us. Very easy. Doesn't have to be hard. And so we've got to believe it. We've got to believe it. We've got to know this. And what we believe is what we receive. I want this to be your mantra. What I believe is what I receive. That's like your believe check-in meter. What am I believing right now? Do I want this? Because what I believe, I'm going to receive. What I believe, I'm going to receive. It is done unto us as we believe. The master teacher said it all the time. We just didn't believe him. Many of us still don't believe him. It is done unto you as you believe. What I believe, I'm going to receive. Do I want to receive what I'm believing right now? Let's rewrite that. Change it. So, one of the things I would love for us all to change, because I know we all can step into faith more than we are right now, is to release any kind of limitation and to stop playing small. In all areas of our life, we are at that place where it's rattling. Let's go. To release any kind of limited thinking and to stop playing small. Ernest Holmes, again, has wisdom. He said if you could realize the tremendous power of attraction that holds everything in its place, it is yours. It is yours. It is yours, this gift. It is the divine birthright of every living soul. You know someone that needs to hear this? Please tell them this is your divine birthright. It is of every living soul, but we limit ourselves by thought of limitation. he tells us now we must open up the doors of our consciousness. It only happens here. Open the doors of our consciousness and expand and expand and expand. Do this. Expand. Don't hit your neighbor, but expand, expand, expand. Come on, you can get just a little more. Reach. Expand. Look at those wingspans, right? You'll do this at home where your neighbor's not going to be hit, okay? I'm expanding. I'm throwing open the doors of my consciousness. I'm no longer going to let limited thinking or any beliefs get inside of me that it is my divine birthright. I am here to expand my consciousness and expand and expand and expand. And he says, and no longer think in terms of the backyard lot, but in terms of the infinite nature and in terms of the universe and life itself. Go to that big picture, that universal picture. And so, we've got to believe it. We've got to believe that our divine birthright is a life of good and more good. I have one more. Then Brad can come up. It's time to step out in faith and feel good. And Gabrielle Bernstein does a good job of talking about this in her book. I've only read the first 2 chapters to prepare for this. It's a good book. I can't wait. It's awesome. Somebody else has read it. And I want us all to read it. Believe it. You ready? Get ready. I want you to breathe in. I want you to let everything out. Now you're open to receive. I want you to believe it. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. Believe it. You are worthy. Ernest Holmes says, but even God cannot give us anything unless we are in a mental condition to receive the gift. The law cannot do anything for us unless it can do it through us. We live in the midst of eternal good, but it can only be to us what we believe it to be. We stand at the mouth of a river. Think of the biggest river you know on this planet. You're standing at the mouth of that river. Biggest one. But we must let down our own bucket if we wish to fill it with the pure waters of reality. So we've got to believe it. We've got to believe that you can have your good. You've got to believe that it works. You've got to believe that the universe always says yes. You've got to believe that good things come easy. You've got to believe that we can each expand our consciousness and let go of limitations and playing small. We've got to believe that we are worthy. And of all things, like Ernest Holmes asked us, I'm going to ask us, all of us, on the inside of me and on the inside of you, I'm asking you to believe that manifestation isn't miraculous and that this stuff really, really, really does work. Believe that to the biggest extent you possibly can in your life, because it is done to us as we believe. And as you believe that this stuff truly works, you are one more example that it does. You get to talk about it, you get to share it, you get to invite people into it. Doesn't matter if they're in another faith tradition, invite them into this. Let them know that they can have their good and it's easy. And that's how we help create a world that works for all. The more good, and the more good we have, the more good we have to share. And we can share it all we want. And let's just exclamation point this with a prayer, shall we? In this moment, I'm going to invite the practitioners to come up, and ministers, even our guest, if you would like. It's up to you. We stand in the power and the presence of love and life itself. I invite us to go within. In your consciousness, Imagine this divine oceanic substance in the form that speaks to you in the greatness, in the grandeur of God, life itself. This one love, this one power, this one presence. It is the Alpha, the Omega. It is the ground of all being. It is the everything of everything, seen and unseen. It knows how to unabashedly give to itself so fully, so freely, so exquisitely, so that all of life manifests as it. Oh, my heart is expanded to know that it wants to give to itself so fully. It says yes for the experience of it to have a good life as the one. And as I know that this one life is a life of wholeness and abundance and creativity and peace and joy and love, agape love, the greatest power there is, I know that I am that I am. I am that place where all of life shows up. The entire ocean is in this drop. The Father and I are one. And as I know this about myself, I absolutely know this for each and every one of you. And the sound of my voice, and every single person we've ever met, who's ever lived, and shall be so. And so it is by the power and the authority of the one mind, the Christ consciousness, that which is, that I speak the word for each of us. I believe that this life is a good life. I believe that by the mere fact that we're here, that we accept our divine birthright and know that we are worthy of this love. We are worthy of this peace. We are worthy of this abundance. We are worthy to have good things come to us easily. I know that our consciousness is expanded in this moment beyond where we thought it could be. And that we allow this process, this creative process of the law of cause and effect to be at the forefront of our life. That we consciously choose how to create this life, this good life for ourselves and others, so that we get the great job that we love. We get the wonderful salaries that we receive, so we have more to share and to spare all around. That as our life works, we get to tell someone this is how you work it. I know that we are consciousness manifesting and we are expanding into this and we step into this faith. And as we believe that this is how it works, we work it, we prove it, we believe it, we work it, we prove it, we believe it. And our lives, we mark this day, that this is the day that life showed up in its fullness and its allness, and we surrendered to this power and presence, and we allow it to flow through us with no restrictions. And it flows as us. We are a walking manifestation of the good life. And so I release these words into the universal law, knowing that as I do, the words are made flesh. They are made manifest. It's not miraculous. This is how it works. I believe it. I know it is so. Therefore, it must be made so. And so in great expectancy, I smile, knowing that all is well, all is good, and all is God. And if you, like me, believe this, I invite you to say Ashe, Aho, Amen, Amen, and so it is.